Bryce is joining us again now with some easy exercises that may help with snoring. Yeah. So let's just reiterate the issue with snoring.
Sure.
For sure, it's annoying.
It's super annoying if you have a partner who snores. But listen, this is close to my own house and heart because I'm actually a snorer.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier it's because of a nasal septal defect. It's a problem in my nose. And it's really annoying for my wife. I figured out solutions, of course.
Okay.
But it's actually a serious health concern and hazard. So this is, I would actually go so far as to calling this a not so silent epidemic.
Okay.
It's a loud epidemic. And the issues that are going on when we're obstructing the back of our throat here and not allowing air, or partially obstructing, because there's obstructive and then there's partial obstructive apnea. And if you're snoring, whether it's mild or moderate, it's a mild apnea. If it's severe, it's severe apnea. And apnea is blockage of airway. You're not getting oxygen. Literally, your cardiovascular system, your brain is oxygen deficient for a period of time.
It's very scary when you put it that way. Like you have stopped breathing in the middle of the night when you were unaware and able to wake yourself up to say, hey, I'm not breathing.
Right, and your body will eventually, but it's in that relaxed state, right, where the brain is kind of cut off from the rest of the body. So what will happen to an apneic is they'll go, and they'll wake themselves up, and their sleep gets interrupted, so that's horrible. That puts on weight for these individuals, metabolism flunks, but it's also really heavy on the heart, in particular the left ventricle. It starts to enlarge because it's got to all of a sudden pump harder during the day. So this is actually leading to things like heart attack. You know, you don't realize, 50% of people who snore heavily have full-blown apnea. So that's why there are sleep clinics, folks. If you hear a snorer, don't stop. They might say, I don't snore, and you'll record them, and they snore. And we mentioned earlier, it's either a lawnmower or a freight train. There's nothing in between, right?
Okay.
So some really cool tricks. So I don't know who came up with these necessarily, but they have been scientifically validated and studied subsequently. What the idea is to tonify the back of your mouth, nasal oropharyngeal area, which is the back of the throat. There are muscles there. So otherwise it's called the soft palate, but it's also called the muscle palate, okay? So if we can do exercises to make that stronger, like any other muscle in our body, it'll work better for us when we're sleeping.
Okay, well, I'm into fitness, but more of the bicep type. But let's do the back of the throat fitness. What do you do for that?
So this is a little silhouette. Forgive my artistic rendition.
It's pretty good.
Okay, and this is a tongue, see? So this, right, the first exercise is all about getting the tip of your tongue to the front end of your palate and literally massaging as hard as you can back to the end of your, the back of your mouth.
Who can do that?
And do that for 30 seconds. Well, let's try. Let's practice together.
You guys try it too.
So it starts at the front of your teeth and back to the, like that. You don't have to make these sounds, by the way. It's just, I feel like a duck.
It almost feels like it. You want to.
And you want to do that for about 30 seconds. All right, times 4.
This is work, huh?
Right. No, but so here's what will happen. You'll actually feel a lactic acid burn. Your tongue's a very strong muscle. And you're flapping it all day while you talk, right? So you get do these things that are unnatural. It'll actually help tonify.
I like it. Okay.
Here's another one. So again, if we just move our tongue from a natural position and we actually force it to the roof of our mouth and hold it there, it's like it's as if it's lifting weight. So up to the roof of the mouth and hold it there. So just like.
Make that face though when you do it.
Right? So what that'll do is that'll help to train the tongue to stay toward the front of the mouth. So stretching out the ligament that's actually attached to your skull and actually train it to stay more forward, not anterior. As soon as it's anterior, what can happen, and this is somebody who's standing up or sitting down, they lie down, and this muscle, this big tongue muscle, can fall down like that. What's happening?
You're totally blocking the passage.
Bingo. Right?
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's snoring. And then this is snoring.
Yeah.
And then this is when it's like...
blocked.
Right. That's apnea. Now, there's another one that engages another muscle, and it's the opposite of what we just did, and it's pushing the tongue as best as you can all the way down. Down, almost like through the floor of your lower jaw. So, with your tip of your tongue. Now, almost making it concave. Try talking like that. So tip of the tongue is at the front of your teeth. And you're making almost like a cup form with your tongue. It's very tight.
Okay, so
right? It gets tight like that. Right? It'll talk like that.
Practice this for a while.
No, really. So you spend a few
And
minutes
be
before
repetitive about it, right?
It's
Like, sort
all
of
about repetition. You can go to a gym.
consistency.
You can go to a gym, sit in the gym, and watch everybody else exercising. But if you're just sitting there, it's not doing anything for you. So you can know how to do these things.
Right.
You don't practice it, you will see nothing.
Right.
Now, the last one is a really cool one. Even this one on its own has been studied to actually make a significant effect. And all it is putting your tongue, as we just did, as far down as you possibly can in your mouth, and at the same time, and this is maybe just as annoying as snoring to your partner, but as a bedtime ritual, at the same time you say ah, as loud and as long as you can, all right? So we'll all practice this.
Okay.
For a deep, as long as you can, all right? And then a deep breath. Come on, I see some of you guys are like, I'm not doing that. I can tell you something, demographically, there's only about 1% of this audience here is likely to snore in the first place. So they're all taking tips, I hope, and they're going to share it with their partners when they get home, right? So gender, there's a huge gender difference. Us guys in particular, when we get overweight,
snorers.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you got to keep the weight in check.
Stop
that's
drinking
an
the
important
alcohol.
part of it.
A lot of
no
people,
alcohol.
A lot of people don't realize this is that they take muscle relaxants before bed, and I mean they might have an ache or a pain. But listen, if you're trying to relax this muscle or this muscle, it doesn't have affinity to go to one spot. It's going to go everywhere and relax those as well. So a lot of folks don't realize this. It's on the labels of muscle relaxants and anti-inflammatories.
Yes.
So I want to talk to your doctor, have this conversation. And again, demographically, it takes us guys for our head to be lopped off and bleeding from an orifice before we show up to a doctor.
Right.
But the age-old adage is don't wait until you're sick. A pound of, or what is it, an ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure, right?
That's right.
So get yourself in there, get a sleep check, make sure the snoring is not actually apnea because it can cause a whole host of other serious problems.
Really good. I like the exercises. Make sure you practice those.